Hey guys, check it out. So one of our brands right now, obviously we're scaling in the middle of Black Friday, and we're doing something quite interesting that I want to show you a strategy that our head of media buying, Luke, he's been running on several of our high spend accounts that I think will give you a lot of value. But this is one of our brands, one of our 24th brands that we've gotten to $1 million a month. And today we're going to do over $450,000 in one day. Yesterday, we did very similar. The day before that, we did very similar. And we're spending about projected $40,000 to $50,000 a day in Meta right now. Some days even more. That's just Meta. We're also running Google and TikTok ads. So there is more ad spend there, but extremely profitable. Like this is going to be their best month they've ever had. And I want to show you a very interesting strategy we're doing. And we're going to break it down. Why is that? What was our theory behind it? Why do you think this is actually going to perform really well? So this is the actual ad account right now. And so far, we spent $34K. We're projected to spend at least $15K by the time the day is out. As you can see, really great performance. This brand has super high margins, very different AOVs, as you can see, and it's just a very, very profitable account running a lot of scale right now. Very, very profitable for us. But I want to break down what we're actually doing. So what's really cool, we're going to break this down, is we're running different types of campaigns. The creative's not all that different and still for this offer specifically, but let's break it down and then we're going to break down why are we doing it this way. So we have one CBO campaign that's 7-day click right here. Then we have a 7-day click campaign that's doing highest value, okay? Then we have our core scaling campaign. This is our evergreen campaign. And then we have one right here that is a bid cap of $40. Now, let's actually break down why we're doing this because there's specific reasons and logic, and I think it's actually helping us tremendously. And we've been doing this for several days. That's proving this point. Okay, so I just took a screenshot of what you just saw and I put it here because I'm going to break this down together. Now, I want to be very clear when I say this situation is not for majority of use cases. This is really for brands that they have an offer that's proven. We've done this strategy not just during Black Friday, but we've done it for other high offer times, whether that's a promotion deal, whether that's an evergreen offer, and it does work quite well. But also, this is not for brands, in my opinion, that are risk off, meaning you don't like to take a lot of risk, okay? Because there is some risk to it. Not a lot of risk, but there is some risk to it. But it's also for brands that you have the inventory to scale, and also you're okay to spend a lot of money if things are going quite favorably. So let's break this down. So there's a few things going on. Number one is we have this. This is our essentially the main spend we're doing for this campaign. Okay, this is just one day, by the way. I mean, just if you want to see what we've done the last 3 days, essentially do this times 3. And it's over 100K. And we're going to do even more of the weekend. Okay, so there's a few reasons for doing this. We have this. This is normal CBO. We have highest value. I'll get to that in a second. Then we have our evergreen right here. This is our evergreen. And then we have this, our bid cap. So why are we doing this? So first of all, doing this during this time, what this allows right here is essentially a high reward, low risk. This is a high reward, low risk bet. Why is that? Well, because the bid cap is $40 and the current CPA of that is actually $37. The bid cap of it is $40, but our CPA, which I don't have pictured here, is actually $37. So that means we're getting purchases on average for $37. And I think the AOV was like 110, 120, something like that. Okay. But we're not expecting, what you don't know is that this campaign is that we actually have a $50,000 a day budget on it. That's how much the budget we have on it. I meant to show that earlier, but we put the budget to $50,000 a day at a $40 bid cap. Now we're not expecting to spend all $50,000, but the inflated budget, Meta's seeing that we're willing to spend $50,000 is essentially what we're doing is we're taking the pacing that Meta would have on these campaigns out of the equation. So in Meta right now, this campaign has a daily budget of, I think it was 20,000, for example. This campaign was like 5K. This campaign, that's our evergreen campaign. I think right now we're at 6K. And then this one has a budget of $50,000, but it has the bid cap. Now, what happens is, first of all, these campaigns, this one and this one, these are what you call highest volume. Now, any campaign inside of Meta that doesn't have a bid cap on it, or CAC cap on it, a ROAS target, essentially is a highest volume, where you're telling Meta, give me the most amount of these actions, what I'm optimizing for, within the budget that I give you. What that means is that Meta essentially takes this, and yes, while you're still having an auction, it's also auction plus pacing. Because remember, Meta is an auction, but what this does is also has pacing. So essentially, they look at a 24-hour period, okay, 24 hours. They look at a 24-hour period and they take what data they have and they say how likely is it people to buy within certain hours. And we're going to try to take your, let's call it 10K, and we're going to try to evenly distribute it based off of, and maybe put more on hours that are going to spend more. So to be really simple, let's say between 0 and 6 a.m., it's going to spend 3K, okay? And then between 8 a.m. and noon, let's say it's going to spend 5K, okay? And then between noon and midnight, it's going to spend, let's do 5, it's going to spend 2K, because that's how much you have left. And so it's pacing it out based off of the time of the day, the hours in the day, and how much it statistically thinks people are willing to buy within certain hours. Now, the benefit of that is you put things in the control of Meta, and then Meta gets to decide where it goes. The downside of that is you're not actually competitive all the time. Why is that? Because Meta's trying to spend your money efficiently, which means you actually potentially aren't going to get in front of people all the time, because Meta has to pace it out. Even if you're spending $100,000 a day, it still doesn't mean every single person is going to see it. But what happens is when you have a bid cap like this, so we're going to go here, when you have a bid cap, but we have a bid cap like this where it's 50K, what essentially you're telling Meta is, I am willing to be competitive. I am willing to spend as much money as possible as long as you can, based off your best guess, give me a purchase at $40 or less. So what that means is Meta has a longer time span. They have 24 hours, right? The entire day for it to put in front of anyone it desires with these two constraints in mind. So what that means is you're more competitive, because when you set a daily budget, Meta's algorithm tries to spend that budget evenly, which I already described. And so it becomes a conservative and a constraint. And because what it does is, so while it still serves the auction, it's trying not to exhaust itself by spending too much budget too early or spending too much too late. It's trying to be conservative. But what we're doing by putting a $50,000 daily budget, we don't have any expectation of where it spends. We're essentially saying, Meta, money is no object, and it knows what your budget is, right? Their incentive is to make a lot of money, okay? So what it does is it removes that part of the algorithm's incentive to pace itself and hold itself back. Going back to this, with this $40 cap right here, essentially what's happening is Meta will now enter every auction where it thinks it can win at or below $40 without worrying about the conservative budget, without worrying about any other constraint. And since we're already getting a $37.50 CPA under that cap, the campaign is going to compete more aggressively and put us in more people. Because the cool part here is, imagine if it's like this. Let's try to give you another example. Let's say, for example, this is the day, okay? This is the day. This entire span is the day, okay? And let's say it's not going to be perfectly 24. All of these are individual hour segments. Okay, individual hour segments. And to make this really simple, let's say this right here, this green is my highest volume campaign, right? It's automatic bidding, automatic auction delivery. I set a budget and Meta goes. So what that means is Meta, because it's trying to fit, for example, $10,000 over 24 hours, it will only potentially serve it more on certain hours, less on certain hours, okay? And so essentially it's just feeding out your budget where it thinks it can compete, but also with the constraint of it has to pace itself. It can't spend it all at once, right? But what the cost control does at that $50,000 daily budget, so but put here, CC cost control, what that means is I can bid all the time. As long as you're saying, Meta, as long as you can compete at $40 or less, I will spend an infinite amount of money. Now, we don't scale accounts this way, but this is a really great strategy that we pair with our highest value so that, yes, we're gonna still let this do its thing, because I'm a believer in highest volume, I really am. But in this period, we're gonna allow ourselves to be more competitive and show up where Meta, I will spend an infinite amount of money if you can do it under this target. Now, the more you increase that target, the more Meta's can deliver it, because theoretically, this brand is an 8-figure brand. We are 100% okay spending $50,000 today if they can get a CPA at $40 less. It doesn't happen that often, once in a rare while. But that's why I mentioned this brand has the ability to, has the budget to, but also also it can have the risk tolerance to do that. But this is a strategy that we've done many times. And over the course of this sale period, that campaign is going to have the best efficiency out of all the other campaigns. We've done it many times. So this is a really great strategy to pair with. Again, if you have those constraints and you are okay, and you're okay with potentially if it does serve that, but man, this campaign is highly efficient. Not a lot of volume, mind you, not a lot of volume. We're going to increase that bid cap eventually, but so far, 3 days in, this campaign is just absolutely crushing. Now, the evergreen campaign, this is also something that we do is during high sale periods, this evergreen campaign, it doesn't have offers in the ads. We just learned over time that the evergreen is important because it still funnels people in. This is why. So why do we keep our evergreen campaigns on, and do we still scale evergreen even during an offer period? Because here's the funnel, right? Let's say you have like a 30% off offer, okay? Well, if you know anything about the states of awareness, but you have product aware, you have fully aware, you have product aware, solution aware, problem aware, and unaware, right? So you have unaware, then you have problem aware, then you have solution aware, then you have product aware, then you have fully aware, okay? Those are the 5 states of awareness. When you have a 30% off offer, it's really going to these parts of the funnel. People who are already product aware, people who are already fully aware, maybe a little bit to those people, but for the most part, it's really meant for those people. People who already know about your product, already know about your brand. That just makes sense. Now, every once in a while, if you have a product that sells to a massive TAM, then maybe you can go to problem aware, but most of the time, it's just these people who are buying it. The reason why evergreen still works and why we're spending so much money on it is because the longer your sale goes on, this is the length of your sale, you're killing these people, right? So eventually, let's say this right here is maxed out. These are people just maxed out. The longer you run the sale, your fully aware people and your product aware people, the longer it goes on, they just get so fatigued. And then why this is important is because our evergreen ads are bringing in new people all the time. It's fueling more unaware people to problem aware, and it's fueling more problem aware people to solution aware, and it's fueling more solution aware people to product aware that then they buy, right? So it's bringing new people into the funnel all the time. And that is the reason during high sale periods, by the end of our sale period, we'll actually end up spending more money on evergreen than we will on those. We'll spend way more at the next 3 days on this than we'll on those, because our creative that has the offer will have exhausted those parts of the funnel. And so to keep the sale going and to keep the good times rolling, we actually have to increase this budget significantly. That's then going to do what? It's going to funnel more people into our funnel so that it keeps working and it doesn't fatigue people as much because it has brand new faces in it, right? So that is what we do during high spend times. Give it a try. It absolutely crushes. The highest value is something that we've learned where we do that, again, just to be more competitive in certain ad auctions. I showed you when I first came on, but this campaign, while it has a higher CPA, actually has a higher average order value as well. And we find that it often has really good performance over a long period of times too. But that's something that just to force men to go into different ad auctions, we do it to also force the spend as well. Because sometimes we try to spend a lot of money, Meta doesn't serve it so efficiently. And so this strategy, again, only for certain brands, certain use cases, just works exceptionally well. But if nothing else, give that cost control a try. If the offer's proven, and if you're already making money on that offer and already spending on that offer, it's just a really great, easy thing to do to be more efficient, to allow yourself and to get into more ad auctions. If you like a strategy like this, keep watching this channel. I'm gonna keep breaking down more strategies like this. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Reach out to me on socials and the DMs. And please like, comment, and subscribe. It means the world to me.